Hello, citizens of the future. Citizen of the future here. Welcome to part 2 of my regulated document review of Can Blockchain Revolutionize Global Trade? A comparison of 2018 to things we are seeing now in 2022. I fast forward, before we get into the document again, we left the last video talking about MLETR. And I'm going to give you guys a 2022 update from just the last couple weeks and to show you how this has been advancing these last 5 years and where we are at today, so you could be at the top of the forefront of the Industrial Revolution and you can see how these industries are changing. So in order to get started here, I'm just going to quickly read off, because I have to say it in every video, is a quick disclaimer here. So none of this is financial advice. I'm not paid to create any of this, but the reason I create my content is I see a lack of good factual information out there around regulated blockchain networks, around how blockchain is revolutionizing the industry. So as we know, the mainstream media is doing a great job of not covering blockchain technology. They cover cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, all these hype coins, but they don't actually talk about how the technology, the underlying technology for them, is revolutionizing the globe. And well, that's why my account is here, is to help show you guys, so you guys can become citizens of the future who's paying attention to the future and not the past. Okay, so let's dive in here, guys. Okay, so before I show you the newest update from the International Chamber of Commerce and the ICC, I want to just show you this, what I'm about to dive into. So this was from 2021 from Andre Casterman, a webinar that I've seen, and they're talking about the digitalization of documents. And funny enough, Chris Southworth was mentioned in here. And who is Chris? He is one of the leaders on the ICC, the International Chamber of Commerce, LRAB, which is the Legal Reform Advisory Board for the UK. And here it says, digitalizing trade documents is a critical part of laying the foundations to future trade. It will allow us to remove legal barriers, improve efficiency, and importantly, open new growth opportunities, particularly for small, medium enterprises in the fintech sector. We need as many companies as possible to fill in the survey to help us make the business use case for reform in UK. And who have we seen? So if you've watched my other videos, I've talked about the UK Law Commission. They're getting the green light for digitalizing documents through the MLETR standard, through using DLT and smart contracts for moving invoices and stuff through the international trade system. So before I get on this, I just want to show you guys who Chris is, because he's the star in the next video that I'm about to show you guys, talking about how the ICC is the largest business organization representing 45 million companies, 1 billion people in over 100 countries. This is the big scope. Take a big step back from where you are right now, sitting in your room watching this. We're talking about the globe. The globe is being revolutionized. Okay, the ICC is helping set the standards for the G7, the G20, the World Trade Organization, the United Nations. This is a unifying standard that the world is going through. So let's hop into this video, guys, to show you where we are at in 2022. 100 views, February 15th, and let's go.
Hello, my name is Chris Southworth. I'm the Secretary-General of the International Chamber of Commerce here in the UK. At ICC, we're keen to promote cheaper, faster, simpler trade, but as many of you will know, the trading system is antiquated and very fragmented with lots of digital islands and unconnected systems. The reason for that is because our laws don't allow for digital documentation and we lack international digital standards. All of that's going to change this year with new laws coming into place in the UK and elsewhere around the world. ICC now.
Do you see that? The new legislation is coming this year. This year, it's happening. And that is the MLETR standard is going to be accepted in jurisdictions, which allows digital documents to be valid in the international trade law for jurisdictions around the world.
Now setting global standards. The prize, if we make the transformation to a fully interoperable digital trade system, is huge. It's $225 billion in additional growth in the UK and efficiency savings. It's 25 billion in SME growth. It's 1 billion in additional trade finance, and it's an 80% cut in trade transaction costs. It's the most transformative program in world trade. The ICC Digital Trade Conference on the 6th to 8th of April this year is all about preparing the market, helping industry now.
Preparing the market in April 2022, so a couple months, we are preparing the market to go fully digital.
Get ready to maximize and capitalize on these benefits and prizes. This year we're going to be picking out sectors. We're going to be looking at warehousing, we're going to be looking at commodities, finance, logistics, and doing a specific session on digital identities or legal entity identification, and working with standards bodies, industry experts and government to look at the barriers, what's stopping us from moving to become an interoperable trading system in the UK and beyond. And we'll be launching a new ICC Centre for Digital Trade. So come and join us. It's the ICC.
So check this out. Right here, ICC, United Kingdom. This was posted February 9th. Are we ready to trade digitally? Damn rights we are. We are ready. Look at Enigio. Who have I talked about? Enigio Time. And they're built off XDC network. So I'm going to show you guys, just to give you a tip, just to show you guys how it all connects. So since I want to make you guys citizens of the future, to show you how this all pieces together, I laid it out super easy for you guys to research and see how it all puts together. So there's the UNICITRAL, United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. They created the MLETR Digital Document Standard in 2017, which we were covering in that document, which we'll get into. Then the ICC, they back that MLETR standard for digitalized standards across the globe. So the ICC gets broken down. They have the Digital Standards Initiative, which is the DSI, and that gets broken down between two initiatives: Trade Trust Network, which is an ERC20 trade financing blockchain, and then you got ITFA's DNI Initiative, which is Digital Negotiable Instruments Initiative, which uses XDC network as the DLT network for exchanging digital documents attached to a blockchain, because XDC settles in 2 seconds and costs fraction of a cent. And so when you guys see the DNI initiative talking about DLT, smart contracts, that is talking about XDC network, Enigio. That's why I always point these keywords out, is for you guys to research this stuff. Put the hours in, because there is generational wealth on the line, and that's not financial advice. One day I see XDC network being a tokenized liquidity pool for the world of trade finance and small medium enterprises. And what that means is there'll be these liquidity pools that you could stake your XDC tokens and get a % return automatically through these liquidity pools. That's what I see in the future. And that is going to provide anyone to invest into the trade finance asset class, which is huge. So I hope that helps. And big shout out to another deep diver that's also deep in the trade finance rabbit hole as me, CryptoKJ2. Big shout out to you, friend. He always posts deep stuff on XDC. So if you like XDC, check him out as well. Just gave you that. I hope that's some alpha information. If you like that, like, comment, subscribe, leave feedback. And yeah, let's dive. So let's get started here. Back to the document. So introduction. The world is continually changing, driven by technological innovations that affect the way we live and do business. The history of world economy is intimately linked to technological process. The invention of the steam engine, mechanized production, the discovery of electricity enabled mass production, and the rise of the internet made it possible to coordinate various production stages at a distance, leading to a fragmentation of production that gave rise to a global value chain. So, however, while information and communication technologies have deeply affected the organization of production, they have not yet succeeded in digitalizing trade transactions. So even in 2022, we're just starting to see proof of concepts with digitalized trade transactions. So it's taken 5 years and we're just starting to see it to start snowballing. So here's an example. Electronic single windows. Trade transactions still remain heavily dependent on paper. A shipment of roses from Kenya to Rotterdam can generate a pile of paper 27 centimeters high, and the cost handling it can be higher than the cost of moving the containers. Like, do you hear that? Paper is more costly than moving the containers. And that is still like that today. The supply chain has been slow and outdated for years, decades. So this is just talking about how blockchain is a digital record of transactions or ledger that is decentralized. No entity controls the network. Records are shared with all participants. And so blocks are then chained to each other. So when they're talking about this, every change to a digital document is chained to the previous version. So you can see who changed it, the timestamp of it. And okay, so this is an example of Enigio's digital document solution, which is built on XDC network. And as you can see, when you upload a digital document to the blockchain, you can then send it from whatever person along the way, and it's time-stamped, and it's got a complete history of any change that was made all the way until the last folder. This eliminates storing of paper. It's always traceable and trackable because it's on a blockchain. It's all digital. It's all held on a ledger. It's automated. It's friction-free. And the Economist calls it the trust machine. Hear that? The digital trust machine. Hoorah! Get excited. Get excited because this is all open source networks that any citizen in the world that can use a computer or use the internet can participate in this revolution. They can buy the tokens that are going to be used for these systems. Not financial advice, but yes. An innovation, a game changer, a revolution, a monument of untapped potential, the solution to all problems, a silver bullet for some, old wine in a new bottle. A zero-sum game, much ado about nothing, a solution looking for a problem to solve, a pipe dream, the most overhyped technology for others. The list of hyperbolic statements making the headlines of blockchain-related literature is long. No technology has stirred up so much popular passion since the advent of the internet, and none sparked so much controversy beyond the confines of the mysterious universe of information technology. Everyone has an opinion, yet few understand what it's all about. So even though there's so much hype around blockchain, crypto, only a fraction of people truly understand how it's revolutionizing industries. And is it really happening? Yes, it's really happening. Blockchain in a nutshell. I didn't really see anything special in there. So they name mention Iota here, which is a DAG network for machine-to-machine communication. So anyone that likes Iota, it's ISO20022 interoperable. They mention R3 and Corda. They mention Hyperledger. And I'm just skipping by it because I just want you guys to pause and read it if it's quick or nothing major. So centralized versus distributed ledger. We all know what that looks like. So they mention new kids, not on the block. So Iota, Ripple, Hashgraph. And they're just talking about blockchain is now commonly used to refer to distributed ledger technology in general and to the phenomenon surrounding DLT. So types of blockchains. Permissionless versus permission blockchain. You guys should know what that is. If not, read here. Public versus private consortium blockchains. Talk about public blockchains. It's 2022. I don't think I need to cover this. So the degree of decentralization of distributed ledgers varies. So there's just a diagram for you. Consortium blockchains. Okay, so smart contracts. So automatic execution of predefined tasks. So if you don't know what a smart contract is, it's when you have two parties, they have agreement between the requirements to make that contract execute, and once both sides are met, it doesn't need a third party, it auto executes. So they're just talking about how insurance can be revolutionized. There's another mention of Iota there, just in the citations, hash graph. Okay. Can blockchain revolutionize international trade? Yes, 100%. It is. So right now, it is 100% revolutionizing trade. And this is why I'm creating this content, is to show you citizens that this revolution is actually happening and there is no hype to the utility tokens that are shaping the future. Towards paperless trade. The numbers speak for themselves. They found around 30 actors and more than 100 people were involved throughout the journey with the number of interactions. So this is talking about the roses and avocados from Kenya to Netherlands. And there was 30 actors and 100 people were involved throughout the journey with the number of interactions exceeding 200. So in that one shipment alone, there was 200 interactions. The shipment took about 34 days to go from farm to the retailers, including 10 days waiting for documents to be processed. You hear that? 10 days for documents to be processed. And now picture a ship with hundreds of containers on there, all paper, waiting for this paper to get verified. There's no data points being collected. There's nothing automated about that process. But once we automate and move towards a digital trade system, that's when it's flawless. Things are going to move friction-free. And then one of the critical documents went missing, only to be found later amid a pile of paper. So another big thing about paper, it gets lost, it gets damaged. Here's another diagram here showing how much it moves between all the parties in the trade. So 4 processes involved in cross-border trade transactions: commercial transaction, transport, official control measures, trade financing. And so paper has administrative costs, it has prone to errors, losses, and fraud. And although notable progress has already been achieved, full digitalization of cross-border trade transactions of goods is not in sight yet. This is 2018. And guess what? It's in sight. So I'm going to give you a sneak preview to give you some really big hope, because if you're in this long, I gotta give you some answers too, right? Like, I'm showing you the problem. Well, look at this. Let me show you proof that the digitalization of trade is actually happening. This was from the ITFA Digital Negotiable Instruments Initiative. And this was in 2020, March 30th, 2020, with the Ministry of Justice of UK, with Sean Edwards. And if you guys didn't know, the ITFA DNI Initiative uses XDC network as a document settlement mechanism in the back end. But look at this. Let's read, okay? So if this doesn't get you hyped up, it gets me damn hyped up. So here we go. Understand the barriers to the digitalization of documents. International trade, paperless trade measures are growing in importance for maintaining trade competitiveness, addressing trade control and logistic challenges associated with increased small shipments in e-commerce trade and reducing trade costs. Distributed ledger technology and deployment of smart contracts have enormous potential, as well as integrated digital solutions to close the trade financing gap. Officials at the Ministry of Justice are currently working with the Law Commission to finalize the scope of the project to start imminently. So this was 2 years ago, and they're finally just getting the English law updated. So right here, with the overreaching goal that English law is fit for purpose the way transactions, including trade finance, are carried out in modern digital world. I'm encouraged by your assurance of the support of financial institutions from the UK and overseas. I wholeheartedly encourage the ITFA and its members to engage with the Law Commission's work in this important area. Yours truly, Robert Buckland. And now look at the keywords that I'm giving you guys here. You can spend hours researching this stuff and put it all together yourself. UNICITRAL, United Nations Commission on International Trade Law, created the MLETR Digital Document Standards. That ITFA DNI Initiative meets that MLETR standard, which allows XDC network to interoperate with any other MLETR standard digital document. So do you guys see how this connects together? XDC network is the DLT and smart contract solution for the DNI initiative, which is partnered and put on by the ITFA, International Trade Forfeiting Association. Deep. This is deep research, and I hope you take these seeds of information and learn to do something with it. So, right here, up to 80% of trade finance, blah, blah, blah. Nothing really important there. So, existing traditional trade finance is often associated with high costs and burdensome procedures due to paper-heavy processes and the challenges of coordinating the multiple players involved in a trade transaction. Trading on open account terms using supply chain finance tools could be a risky game for exporters. So the technology is seen by many as an interesting tool to improve the security of traditional trade finance transactions and streamline and digitalize processes, especially letters of credit, as well as opportunity to facilitate know your customer KYC processes and ease supply chain trade finance. So they can now add legal entity identifiers to corporations. That is what is happening in 2022. So every company can get a legal identifier that says, hey, they're this company. You can get KYC and AML already set up on this identifier. So it's eliminating these old know your customer and anti-money laundering processes that are in the current legacy finance system. So just claiming that particular letter of credit transactions is labor intensive and paper intensive and involves multiple players. So 20 documents creating approximately 5,000 data field interactions. So I'm going to pull up a document here. One sec. Okay, so I want to use this post that I was actually replying back to this guy named Craig Atkinson, and he is a consultant for the United Nations, contributed to the World Economic Forum, but he was talking about digital documents in global trade. So I used this thing that I referenced, I created in December 15th, talking about digital documents versus paper, because in digital documents, you get all the data points. So let me show you here. So for example, this is all the data points that they can get from a digital document. And now 99% of trade documents in the whole world is paper. They don't get any data points. They don't get none of this from it. But think about it. If they convert everything digital, they can use AI to sort whatever information. They can take all this massive big data and they can sift it into clean data and take whatever information they want from it. So now you have a customs, you have a port authority. If they need to pull up a file on someone, they can pull up a file. They can see all the digital things that they've transacted. It's just a complete digital ledger of everything, and it's crazy. So digitalization is a huge part of what's coming. Another thing is the ICC has this uniform rules for digital trade transactions, and it's just a bunch of different things that they can do with this. So they can add artificial intelligence, machine learning, distributed ledger technology, So it's just processes behind the new standards. And the ICC has countries, businesses all over the world, and they're all going with the ICC standard. So follow the ICC. They are the ones producing the standard that everyone is going to have to get involved with for digital systems. So now you guys have just visually seen what a digital document is doing to transform the industry. So here's another diagram that you guys can use to visualize how broken the system is. And remember, all these ports, all these exporters, they all have different systems all around the world. And they're outdated, they're fragmented, they're not interoperable. So the communication is poor, things get lost, you don't know where the hell it went. It's a troubled system, and that's why digitalization is a very important part to our next ways in life. Oh, and here we go. As I was just showing you that document, look at what come up in here is a nice modern version compared to what I just showed you. So that's why I put this. I was like, that is crazy, because I was reading this and it's like I found that document from a completely separate source months ago. So it's pretty cool, I thought. So here's an example of just a traditional model, and then distributed ledger, just a lot easier. So here we go. The International Chamber of Commerce and International Organization for Standardization, which is ISO. But developing standards may take time. Damn rights it takes time. It's taken 4 years, and the standards aren't even fully developed. And so, like I said, we're not in this, don't be in this for short-term riches. This is a multi-decade thing that's happening before us, because you got to think some of these companies have thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees. Systems need to all be upgraded. People need to be taught how to use it. The standards have to be updated in jurisdictions around the world. Okay, citizens of the future, this sums it up for part 2. If you want to finish this document, go over to the next video, part 3. And, if you find anything helpful, like, comment, subscribe, and leave some feedback. Let me know if this regulated research helps you guys learn, if you guys are getting something from it. And share the heck out of this stuff, because, the mainstream media is covering it up.